Welcome to my project ideas. This is an ongoing series on Google Firebase integration in SAP UI5, and we have already done the creation of a Firebase console. We have created a fresh project there in our last video. In this particular video, we'll learn how to connect a UI5 web application with Google Firebase. So steps are very simple. You need to create a new application in Google Firebase, and you need to enable the services you want to use in future. So in our use case, we'll enable three services, that is authentication, which will be used for login. Then we'll enable Firestore database, which will be used to perform CRUD operation over our data. And the last one is object store, where or a storage where we'll be sending our files, media files, like uploading a file, downloading a file. These three services will enable first, and once we are done with the enablement, then we'll create a new UI5 web app, and then we'll get all these data, all the configuration data from Firebase, and integrate it within the UI5 application. So let's get started with our portal. So this is the project that we created in our last video. And to get a project, you go to project settings and you add a project here, a new application here. But before that, we'll add all the services that we need so that the configuration is already present there also. So we'll get started with the authentication. And what we all need is email based authentication, and also we'll need OTP based. So in that use case, I guess we need SMS based. Okay, I believe, let me just check phone. And click save. Fine. So as of now, this is done. Then we have database. We create a database here. And we'll start it in production mode. We want it near our location. So Mumbai will be fine for us. So as we discussed in last video also, we need to identify the location that we want our database to be. So all the storage, database, authentication, they are created separately in different locations. So we can create them all near to each other so that the communication will not take a lot of time. And the last one is storage. We'll click on get started in production mode. Again, it will take the default location of our database, that is Mumbai, and then we have clicked done. So once you are done with these steps, then you can create an application within the Firebase so that the configuration of authentication, storage, and Firestore database is already present there, and you don't have to recreate it or manually enter the required details in UI5 application. That makes our job easier. So while it is getting created, we'll go to our IDE. It can be Web IDE or Business Application Studio, and we'll create a new project from template, and it will be a new UI5 application. I will call it Firebase app. Next, first page I will make it as a login. Not right now, but in future the first page will be login in only, right? Yeah. So we have storage ready, we have database ready, and we have authentication ready. So now it is the right time to create a new application. So you come here and you click on this app. So our app name is uh, let's call it Firebase app again. And in case you want to once you are done with the creation of your web application, you want to use Firebase hosting, you can check this particular checkbox. Otherwise, you can just simply register your application to get the required configuration. So while it runs, I'll go back to the UI5 application. So within this folder, we have a web app, right? And we'll create a new folder called JS. So all our JavaScript files will sit here in JS folder. And it seems I've created a new file. So I'll just delete this one and try to create a new folder. Fine. So while it opens up, we have also like created an article for you where you can get all the theoretical knowledge as well as you can get the code that we are going to use in this video. So we have created a new folder JS, and now we'll create a new file firebase.js. And so we'll just go inside it, click on new file firebase.js, and we'll just copy and paste the entire code available over here. Copy to clipboard, paste it here, save it. So within this file, we have written all the required code that is required to set the model as a Firebase. But the configuration is something that you need to, bring it from your this application. So I will use a script tag. So I just need this particular section. We have, if you see, storage bucket here, project is there, everything that is required is here. Just copy this entire section and replace it here. Now your application is ready to be integrated, because this is the thing that actually makes us to communicate our application with Firebase. And we'll continue to console. So as of now we are done with the creation of application web app, and we are also done with the Firebase model creation. Now this model has some function where we initialize our application using the configuration that we have just copied and pasted from Firebase, and then we call Firestore, Fire Authentication. All these details we call inside the Firebase.js. But one important thing that we have still not added is how exactly our application will know if this Firestore is there or not. For that, we'll just take a reference from our older application, and we have some scripts. So these scripts are also provided in the article. You need to just copy and paste the script in the index file. So these scripts enable us to communicate with Firebase. First, the very first thing that loads in our UI5 application is the scripts, right? The once the script is loaded, then the configuration is loaded here. But this configuration file also is not called from anywhere in our application. So UI5 will not able to understand where it is written. So where we can write it. So I believe you already know that the controller is something that is called, this component file is called once our application loads, once the index loads. So what to write? You can just come to this article and take a reference and copy and paste this section. Now a model is set from our Firebase file, and it will initialize the Firebase model, and the model name will be RB model. And since we don't know the location has to be identified and stated here. So it comes here. So if you see, this is the location for model. So we'll just copy and paste it here. And within that we have a folder called JS, and within that we have a file called firebase.js. I believe the same thing we have written here. So now if you compare what all we have done till now is we have written something in index file, the scripts, which will call the Firebase configuration. Then we have written something in component, which will call this file firebase.js file within the JS folder. And here we have written some piece of code to specify global models. So the model name is every model, right? But to test out if this model is working or not, we'll go to login.controller, and within on init, we'll write a piece of code. This is the piece of code we have created for you. So this dot get view dot get model every model. So every model is set in component file, right? This model will be fetched here, and then got get data, and then from that fire auth, and fire auth is also specified here. So in the end, it has to fetch fire authentication. So we'll just try to run this application. Run this as index file. The web is fine. Index file, save and run. In the output, you will not see anything, but in the console, you can see the authentication model will load. It has to load. Fine. So if you see, our login.controller file is loaded, and within that, a model is loaded for login. So the authentication part is initialized, and we have successfully integrated our Firebase configuration into UI5 application. So I believe this video was useful to you. In the next video, we'll use this authentication method to actually do a sign up and login. So we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.